So the old adage says there's no crying in baseball. And the other adage is there was no whining in hockey. This gentleman lost all credibility with 90% of Canada, while the other 10% were Ranger fans. But when he tried to do a force palace coup and convince maybe half Team Canada to leave Russia right after the Swedish exhibition series, because he wasn't getting enough playing time in the Summit Series, he almost destroyed the team. But if anything, the team joined together, and us against the world mentality. So if Vic Hadfield wouldn't have lost his mind in '72, maybe we wouldn't have bet the Russians 3 straight to take that series. But you can't deny how talented this guy was. Yes, he had personality problems, had pretty well the most beautiful haircut of any hockey player of his era, probably went to his head. But he's 16 years he played in the NHL, including 13 with the Rangers and 3 with the Penguins. Kind of stand out as the lost superstar of the NHL, but at least the one that we should talk about more, and we're going to talk about him quite a bit. So we're talking about the very interesting career of the very talented Vic Hadfield. Now, Vic Hadfield came to major prominence. Again, this team created so many great players. The St. Catharines Teepees of the OHA. Now, his best season with the Teepees, of course, was in the 1960 season, where he had 53 points in 48 games, including 24 points in the playoffs. Now, he was part of the revival of the Rangers, rebirth. Now, at the start, ladies and gentlemen, he was considered kind of like a goon. He established almost a physical presence, and he was getting more penalty minutes than the points. Now, with a strong squad in 1960, we talked about Memorial Cup, that included Chico Mackey, Roger Crozier, and Pat Stapleton, he averaged a point-a-game pace in the season and playoffs, and racked up an average of 5 penalty minutes per game in the playoffs, en route to the TP's second Memorial Cup championships. Now, when he made it to the Chicago's Buffalo Bison's farm team in the AHL, he was left unprotected, which I still don't understand from a Chicago perspective, because he was a proven leader and aggressive player, and he was left protected after a 62 campaign that was claimed by the Rangers in intra-league draft. Now, by the 64 season, Hadfield had really changed his game. He started off as kind of an enforcer. However, over time, he concentrated more on scoring than on fighting, especially with feared enforcer Reggie Fleming on the team. He later joined teammates the great Jean Rattel and the poster boy of nice-looking guys for the Rangers, Rod Gilbert, to form the famous gag line, which stood for goal a game. From the 68 season on, Hadfield always scored at least 20 goals in any full season. Now, Hadfield's best season was the precursor to 72, which maybe led to him freaking out because his lack of playing time against the Russians. He was named the team captain after the trade of longtime captain Bob Nevin, and he became the first Ranger and the only 6th NHL player to score 50 goals in a season, nearly doubling his previous best marks. With his line mates Rattel and Gilbert, the gag line totaled 139 goals and 325 points en route to the Stanley Cup Finals, and he came to within an inch of beating Boston. Now, the Rangers did sign Hadfield to a controversial and lucrative contract the following summer due to term for defecting to the newly created WHA. Thus, when he went over was in Canada, a 7-3 loss to the Russians. When he went over to Europe, he felt that because of his newfound fame and contract and willingness to stay in the NHL, he should have given more respect. But Harry Senden, and it could have been a Ranger Broom thing, I don't really know, but we still don't know. Nobody's talking. So, because Gilbert and Rattel got a lot of playing time too. Now, he scored fewer points thereafter after that breakthrough year, and was eventually traded after the 74 season to Penguins for all people the very ineffective Nick Beverly. Ooh. The Dave Farish of his generation. Now, he scored 30 goals in each of his 2 full seasons for the Penguins, although he was plagued by injuries and up and down weight troubles. Now, near the end of the 76 season, he sustained a knee injury that forced his retirement. Now, at the time of his retirement, Hadfield was 4th in Rangers franchise history in goals, assists, and points, behind his teammates Jean Rattel, Gilbert, and my old interview buddy Andy Bathgate. Now he's second in penalty minutes behind Harry Howell and fourth in games played behind Rattel, Howell, and Gilbert. He currently stands ninth in scoring and third in penalty minutes in Ranger history. Now, his younger brother Carl was a Chicago draft pick at 64. Now he currently is very involved in the golf industry, and he has owned the Vic Hadfield driving range and instructional center in Oakville. Now, in the 2009 book, 100 Ranger Greats, the authors rank Hadfield as the number 20 all-time on the Rangers list who had played during the team's first 82 seasons. I think that's a fair assessment. He is top 20 or 25 in Ranger history, but I would like to see if he was maybe given more what do you call goal support, because it seemed like the majority of the outfit was in those 3 stars. Gilbert, Rattel, and Hadfield, when he was on, were similar to having kind of a combination player like Steve Shutt, Mike Gartner, a little bit of Jerome McGillna. But when they were flying, ladies and gentlemen, the old Marv Albert tapes, you should listen to that sometimes just to see the reaction. And they were the Kings of New York in that 72 season, ladies and gentlemen. And like I said, they came close to tasting from the cup. Now, on September 4th, 2008, in respect of Hatfield's great career, his number 11 jersey was retired at a December contest. Now, after that Summit Series debacle, and you can find dramatizations on that in that CBC TV movie, also in published reports, Stan Fischler and different people, the way he's treated in the CBC documentary or docu-series, he's given too much credit, because there's a scene between, I think, Rattel and Gilbert and Cornway talking about Hatfield. I don't think Hatfield was as much of a factor on that 72 selection, and I tell you why. Okay, you had Esposito, the 2 Espositos, Savard, Lapointe, Cornway, Henderson, the 2 Aldridges. Vic Hadfield was part of like the quota. They had a number of Ranger players, right? Brad Park, one of them. He wasn't as important as Brad Park. He sure as hell wasn't important as Mikita as a leader, because Mikita didn't play much. If you look at Red Berenson was there, Mickey Redmond, and Vic Hadfield. They were second-tier NHL stars, like a good second liner. Vic Hadfield, there or not there, wouldn't have made any difference, because the heart of the Summit Series 72 was the Maple Leaf players, and like Stapleton and White and the Montreal Canadiens players. And this is why I'm telling you this, ladies and gentlemen. Let's remind you for a second. On that 1972 team, you had Savard, you had Lapointe, you had Cornway, you had Dryden, you had the 2 Aldridges. That's almost 1/3 of the Montreal Canadiens. So you can argue saying that, and don't forget they had Larocque and Van Boxmeer as the practice players, so they had 8 or 9. Bobby Clark and the Maple Leaf players, like I said, Ronnie Ellis, Paul Henderson. You might say Frank was a former, Maple Leaf. They made it go. Vic Hadfield had no connection with John Ferguson as associate coach. Harry Sinden didn't really like him. So you get what you get out. Maybe, like I said, the NHLPA, Drew Eggleston, wanted him there. I don't think Vic Hadfield should have been selected for 72. Because if Davy Keon wasn't selected, if you asked LaPerriere to go, he wouldn't go. Why not take Dave Keon? If Vic Hadfield was going to be so much a bitchy player, should have played. I would have loved. I think he would have won every game if Keon was there. Keon would have helped stop that Russian, like Henderson said, going back with the puck. What is this? Anyway, that's my bitchy line. But Vic Hadfield, again, tremendous results. 1,004 games, 323 goals, 712 points. Again, the goal totals are there, ladies and gentlemen. From 1968, 20, 26, 20, 22, 50, 28, 27, 31, and 30, until the injuries took him out. And the playoff totals, especially in 71, 8 goals in 13 games, 16 points in 16 games, and the cup run in 72. Total playoff totals, 27, 21, 48, in 74 games. Again, the Summit Series, 72, but we don't talk about the game in Sweden where he lost his freaking mind. If you can find the tape, it's still out there. By the way, it's a international game with no commentary. I think Brian Glennie had played that game, Dale Talon, like the secondary players. But it was if there was going to be a B team for the Summit Series, Hadfield would have played more, but his style of play wouldn't work against the Russians. Look how many penalties Goldsworthy took. Goldsworthy, and I know it's weird, Goldsworthy and Hadfield played the same kind of game. But the problem is, he started off as a goon, okay, or a protector, and he went against the Russians. He lost his mind completely. Look at Gary Bergman, who was bad enough losing his mind. Hadfield was basically saying, I am not getting what I need from this. But the thing is, when the guy said God is Canadian, we bet the Russians, I don't think God wanted Hadfield there. I know who we wanted there was Davy Keon. So every time Hadfield cried in the press, everybody said, well, how the hell, why didn't you pick Davy Keon? Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. But again, I respect Vic Hadfield, but not in a Team Canada 72 process. Because if you're picking 35 players, only 20 can play, right? He's not, at 1972, he's not top 20 NHL, in my opinion. Have a good day.